welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about Bellamy's vet investigation. As you can see, I'm actually riding, so it's not all bad at all. But when I was there, I took some videos of it, so you can see what he had done, and you know, kind of what we concluded, and what the plan is now, I guess. So yeah, without further ado, let's get on with it. So the first thing we did obviously was have a chat with the vet. So we kind of walked him around on the concrete a bit and had a chat with the vet about what's been going on. For anyone who doesn't follow me on Instagram, at Crazy Hair Unicorn Pony, he'd been lame on and off. This time of year when the ground gets hard, it's not that kind of strange for him to be lame. As the ground gets hard, it tends to flare up his arthritis a bit. So I wasn't all that shocked for the first couple of days, and then it went on and on, and he got better. We went for a hack and he was fine for 2 days, and then the day after that he was lame again. He also had a bit of swelling on his left fore, which isn't normal for him. Normally it's the right one that's worse. Yeah, and he'd also been a bit of an idiot in the field and done a lot of galloping around. So I was really worried it was actually an injury, not just arthritis, which we manage, but an injury. So we booked a trip to the vet, and I took him off to the vet for a bit of an investigation. And the plan was to think about having him x-rayed, basically, with a view to maybe thinking about medicating the joints if he needed it. And yeah, something behind us. I mean, as you can tell, so we're now a week and a half after being at the vet, and he's feeling a lot better. He's snorting and spooking and generally happy and whizzy again. So yeah, let's have a look at what they did. What we did first was, obviously, like I said, we walked around the concrete, and then the vet was keen to see him trotted up. So he didn't actually look too bad. He looks a bit pottery, just trotted up. So then she decided to do a flexion test. So where she holds one leg up for a minute, flexed completely, and then he has to trot off, and she can see what he looks like. So again, the front legs, he just kind of looks a bit pottery. He doesn't look that bad. So she does the first one, and then she'll do the second one in a minute. And she wasn't, she didn't think that I was mad for having him at the vet, but she didn't think it was that bad. So then it came to trotting on a circle, and he wasn't keen, and I'm not surprised. Like, he hates being lunged. He doesn't enjoy it. If you try and lunge him, he tends to either spend the time trying to come back into the middle, or he just goes off bucking and farting and hoolying like an absolute idiot. He's never been good to lunge. So I wasn't shocked he wasn't keen, but I'd kind of semi-lunged him a few days earlier and noticed he was lame on his left fore, only on the right rein. And that kind of got me thinking, oh, maybe this is a hind leg thing. Maybe we're actually not looking at the front legs. Maybe it's the hind ones as well, or instead. So this circle is this trotting on a circle was really interesting, because that kind of says to me, and said to the vet, actually maybe the hind legs are worse than the fronts. So yeah, that's not ideal, is it? But yeah, that's what she did, and that's kind of the conclusion she came to, because he looks a lot worse on the circle than he did where he sort of looks pottery, trotting up and down. in a straight line. So now we come to the hind legs. Now this was interesting. So same thing, just flexed them for a minute, and then the vet nurse trotted him off. But you can see a real marked difference in, you know, the way he trotted first time versus the way he's trotting after the flexion test on the hind legs. So in actual fact, although the fronts are probably sore, the hinds are sore too, which means he's actually was lame on all four legs. The good news is that the vet didn't freak out. The really, really good news is that she didn't think it was an injury. The really, really good news was the vet didn't think it was an injury. That is killer pigeons. That was my big, oh no, look, now we're gonna, hang on a minute. Really, really good news that the vet didn't think it was an injury. That was a big, big worry, thinking, God, how do we rehabilitate him if he has got, you know, a tendon injury or you know, something like that. I mean, he hates box rest, hates it with a passion. He's 25, is he gonna come back? He's definitely not ready to be a retired pony. So yeah, all those questions, but fortunately she didn't think that it was an injury. So that means we kind of then had the discussion about whether we do x-ray, because I was adamant when I first made the appointment I want to x-ray the front legs. You can do a bit more with the front feet, kind of from a barrier point of view by putting different shoes on or shaping the feet differently. And so I was adamant I wanted the fronts x-rayed. But then after he trotted up and he was actually worse on the backs, on the hinds, sorry. It's then like, well, okay, so we should probably look inside the hinds more than the fronts because they look worse. So you can medicate the hind legs, but there's slightly less you can do foot-wise to support the hind legs. So then I was in a bit of a quandary. Now his insurance has already, because he's got arthritis, it's already excluded on his insurance. So I was kind of expecting this visit to cost £300-400 for the x-rays. But now with plates for both forelimbs, both hind limbs, hocks and fetlocks on the hind limbs, not just fetlocks, looking at like upwards of over £1,000 probably. So what we actually decided to do was to monitor it. So he went on low level painkillers just to hopefully get him over the lameness, get him over the worst. So even if he were x-rayed, and it was found it was something we could medicate with steroids. If he has a condition called Cushing's, he can't have steroids. So we decided that we would take a couple of weeks, give him some painkillers, try and settle it down again. And, you know, while we wait for those blood tests to come back in, and then the vet will come back and reassess. So that's basically what we're doing. We're a week and a half in. The vet comes out in another week and a half. So we'll see how we go, but he's really, really happy and sprightly. You know, he's absolutely delighted to be back in work. All we've done is go on 15-20 minute hacks round the block. The next step was to go and see how much he weighed, because I know he's been putting on weight because he hasn't been exercised. Before he went to the vet, he'd only been ridden ish maybe times in about 3 weeks. I knew before that, because I hadn't been very well as well, that he had been putting on weight. I've known kind of since January that he was a bit bigger than I wanted him to be, just because I hadn't been able to get the work in, because I also haven't been very well. So yeah, we put him on the scales. But the vet thinks he needs to lose 80 kilos. Now that is quite a lot of pony. So yeah, we're on a weight loss regime. He is still on restricted turnout, just so he's not an idiot in the field, and also to limit his grass intake. He's on hay instead of haylage, because he gets a bit coughy on hay, but he hasn't actually coughed at all since he's been at this yard. He's been here for nearly a year. He used to cough on haylage as well a little bit. So we're on hay. I've heard maybe 2 coughs, so we might need to just kind of spray it, wet it down a bit. But yeah, we're not going to change his feed, because all he has is top spec Performance Light, which has really low digestible energy. I'll put a link below, and I'll clip in there the composition. And then he has a joint supplement. So I do want to look into his joint supplement. It's an Equine America one. It's really good. I like it a lot. It's basically boswellia and turmeric. Sorry, we just stopped. Tractor in the distance. Yeah, so the next thing we needed to look at was the blood tests. So we had bloods taken to look at Cushing's and EMS. I would quite like to have a look at kidney and liver levels, but the vet wasn't massively concerned that I don't know what he's looking at, that was something that, I mean, we could look at it, but yeah, he's not ever been on long-term medication or anything like that. So anyway, EMS and Cushing's. I will link some articles down below about EMS and Cushing's. EMS is equine metabolic syndrome. So the results actually came in just under a week after the bloods were taken, and I spoke to the vet a couple of days after that. And the good news is no Cushing's, so that's good, but it doesn't really explain quite why his coat's so thick. I still think that's a bit weird. I'm going to have to clip him this weekend, because it's so thick, and even just walking around the block, he's sort of starting to sweat up a bit. So that's good. However, his adiponectin is kind of in the curious level. It was 9.8, so good is less than 8. Bad, i.e. you have equine metabolic syndrome, is more than 10. So Bellamy's 9.8, so he's kind of in the suspicious, we should keep an eye on this section, which means he really, really needs to lose weight. Really does. And that means we need to get back into work. So you see the vicious cycle sort of appearing here. Yeah, but all in all, good news. The vet comes back in a week and a half, so I'll be able... Hang on. Oh, I'll be able to update you then. And yeah, that's it. So we are just happy hacking for another day, and then a couple of days' time we'll go in the school and see what he thinks. But yeah, the vet's happy as long as he's comfortable and sound, that we just crack on with what we were doing. Right, that's it really. That is our update. So thank you very much as always for watching. Do look out for another one. I have a bit of a plan for next week, and then we've got the vet visit the week after, so do look out for some more. I'm hoping to get a bit more strict with actually posting them on the same day, so you know when to expect them. But thanks very much for watching, and yeah, come back again soon. Thanks, bye.